My name is Katie Resendez. I'm the Director of Children's Ministry here at UUC Phoenix. Today I'm going to tell you a story based on Together for Kwanzaa by Jawanda G. Ford. Kayla was so excited for Kwanzaa. You see, her older brother Kari had been away at his first semester of college and she missed him so much. And it had been a pretty stressful time. But he was coming home, and they would all get to be together for the 7 nights of Kwanzaa. Kayla was so excited. But then they got a phone call. That first day, Kari said that because someone in his dorm had been sick, they would have to stay on campus, he and his friends, for a few days until they knew that they weren't sick, because he didn't want to bring the sickness home. Kayla understood. When you're growing up in a pandemic, you get those kind of things, and you know how it goes. But it was still sad. So that night, Kayla set out the placemats all by herself, because Kimmy was still too little and always excited and bouncing around. And the kinara, which was always Kari's job, fell on Kayla to do. So she set it out. Beautiful candle holder, laid out the candles for that night. And when they lit that one first black candle for Emoja, she felt sad more than anything else. She knew she should be excited about unity, but she missed her brother and she missed everyone being together. She looked at the 7 places for candles and thought about the people in her family. Papa and Daddy, Kari, Kayla, Kimmy, and Grandma and Grandpa. There were 7, just like the candles, and she surely wanted all 7 to be home together that night. But she didn't want people to get sick, so it was okay. The second day of Kwanzaa, she focused on self-determination, and she knew her goal. Her big life goal was to go to college. And even though college meant that Kari had to be away for this first night or 2 of Kwanzaa, she still knew it was important to her. And she wanted to get good education, and she wanted to study for as long as she could. She loved getting good grades, and she loved learning new things. And she wanted to be like her big brother. On the 3rd day of Kwanzaa, she felt sad again. She was laying out the pieces of corn, one for each child in the house, the smallest little one for Kimmy, and realized how sad it was that her brother wasn't there. She missed him. By the 5th day of Kwanzaa, he still wasn't home. You see, he had tried to drive down with his friend, but there was a car crash in the snow on the I-17, and they got most of the way down to Phoenix, but had to turn around and drive back up to Flagstaff and ended up having to spend the night in the dorms again. They were going to try to drive around the 40 and back up and down through Payson, but needed to wait another day because they were too tired after being in the car all day long just to get nowhere. So Kayla knew she had to buckle down. This 5th day of Kwanzaa, she really needed to feel purpose. She knew what it would be. Her purpose would be to be the best sister possible. So she spent the day playing with Kimmy. Crowns on her head, a cape around her neck, a tea party, and then they went out in the rain and the mud and stomped around and played. They got their play clothes super messy. And knowing that their dads would be upset, Kayla decided to wash them herself and clean them up and taught Kimmy how to. She thought that was a very good way to be a big sister. She also wanted to be a good little sister. So she decided to make a scrapbook for Kari. She took pages of paper and wrote on them each thing that they had done in the days of Kwanzaa this year. and drew little pictures and glued little things and sewed the whole book together, knowing that on the last night he would be home. He would be home. So she could give it to him as a gift. Now, the 6th day of Kwanzaa in their family was a day of cleaning and being busy and cooking and getting everything ready and decorated because they had a huge party. All of their friends and neighbors, people who celebrated Kwanzaa in their home, and people who had never even heard of it would come over and enjoy their home. And she would be able to teach them all about this important holiday, which is kind of weird, but sometimes if you celebrate a holiday that your neighbors don't, you end up having to be a teacher often. And she had seen Kari explain the holiday, and she would try to do as good a job as he did. But it was also frustrating and kind of sad because they didn't always feel the need to explain their holidays to her. But she knew it was generous, and she knew it was kind to share her favorite 7 days with her friends. So she got ready to do it, but it was very tiring. There was so much work to be done with the cooking and cleaning and everything. But people started showing up, and it was wonderful and boisterous, and the house was full of laughter. And to be honest, Kayla pretty much forgot that Kari wasn't home. So much so that when he came in the door, nobody noticed. Kayla was sitting at the piano playing, and she felt an arm around her and someone humming, and she looked up and there was her big brother. She was so happy. She just wanted to scoop him up and be cuddled and cuddled and cuddled and have them tell stories and hear every detail of his treacherous journey. But there were lots of people here, and they were excited that Kari was home too. So he went and sat on the couch, and Kayla cuddled up next to her big brother and listened as he told person after person about the slippery, icy roads, about the swabs up his nose to get tested for the sickness, about the adventure of driving back home through the elk and the pine trees to finally make it back to the Valley of the Sun. Kayla cuddled up and listened again and again. She fell asleep. She had been so tired, but she felt so peaceful. On that last day of Kwanzaa, the evening of Imani, of faith, she told her brother, Kari, I was sad that you weren't here. I didn't like feeling apart from you. This holiday is so important because we get to be together, because you help me remember what it is to be a good big sister and a good little sister. And you help me remember what I am determined to become. And you help me get excited about things. And it's okay that you're at college, but please, 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 Kari, try to always be home from Kwanzaa from now on. We need to be together. And Kari said, you're right. I was pretty sad not to be with you. So I made you something. And Kayla said, I made you something too. And she went and grabbed the scrapbook all wrapped up in beautiful cloth. And she handed it to him. He said, okay, I'll open this, but first I want to show you what I made you. And he opened up his phone and said, I made you a video scrapbook of every single day since I've missed being home. And they flipped through and watched videos of nose swabs and traffic accidents, but also going sledding on trash can lids in Flagstaff, also being cozied up in his dorm room, watching holiday movies with his friends, also a video of a deer and a coyote in the snow in Heber. Kayla loved to see all of those moments, and it felt like maybe they were together, especially after she gave him his gift, and he flipped through the pages and got to see all the things she did. She was so thankful they were able to be together for Kwanzaa. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. You are so powerful and so loved.